right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Gaifus for Laifus podcast. Once again, I am your reluctant host, Daniel, joined by the other Gaifus, Raul, Gunner, and Chris. Last week, we shared with you guys the first half of the anime 2022 Anime Award predictions from Crunchyroll. Um, because there's a gajillion categories, we decided to chop this up into two separate episodes. And right now, we are actually getting into the top half of the award nominations. Obviously, we will be ending with Anime of the Year. Um, so this is where we kind of get into the meat and potatoes of it. I think. I mean, when you watch the Academy Awards and the Golden Globes and stuff, you kind of skip over like best sound design. You're like everyone wants to want to know who wins best actor, who wins best, movie of the year, et cetera, et cetera. So we're gonna work our way back up to that. We will be starting with the best character design nominees. Best character design nominees are Jujutsu Kaisen. So the designed by Tadashi Hiramatsu, Baku Kinoshita, and Hiromi Nakayama, who did the character designs for Odd Taxi. Atsuko Nozaki, Ranking of Kings. Michi Nori Chiba, Skate the Infinity. Lounge Draw, Flat Studio, and Yuichi Takahashi for Vivi Floor Eyes Song, and Saki Takahashi Wonder Egg Priority. Just to clarify, this is for the anime character designs, not so much like the character designs as a whole, because obviously it goes to the authors of the mangas if they came from that, etc., etc. Okay, so guys, so best character design, where we at? Where do we all fall on it? Thank you, Chris.
Wait, did you guys pick up feedback or something? Sorry.
Oh, no, we just heard you moving your mic. It's okay.
Oh, okay. I guess I will start. So for best character design, I'm gonna go with Skate the Infinity.
Yeah,
So good. So good. So colorful. Characters are all interesting. Even the boring character, Langa, is mad interesting. They all look really cool. The costumes that they have when they are doing their underground skating league is really cool looking. The boards are sick, etc., etc. So, Skate the Infinity did a great job. Jujutsu Kaisen was super close though, but I actually, for Ranking of Kings, I don't think the character designs are too interesting. Like, it's pretty plain for me.
They look like
So
storybook characters, which I guess isn't.
I
I
like,
guess
well, that's
what
like
you
the
want.
animation for it,
Yeah,
but yeah, the character design themselves for like the individual characters is like kind of meh.
Yeah,
Right?
I get what
It's
you
very
mean.
typical,
Mhm.
generic. But Jujutsu Kaisen was a close second, but Skate the Infinity's got here. So yeah, and I haven't seen the other three, so I can't really talk about it. But yeah, there you go.
I agree with Chris. I think the weakest link on here is Ranking the Kings. I do agree. Some of the character designs are cool. Like I like when they go down to the underworld area, and I like the king of the underworld.
Oh, Dessa,
Yeah.
Dessa,
Mhm.
yeah, he's cool looking.
He's
He
cool.
reminds me of he looks like Magellan from One Piece.
Mhm. Oh yeah, Magellan. Exactly. So I like those vibes, but I think overall, when we're looking at character design, I think Ranking of Kings is the weakest on this list. For me, it's a three-way tie between Vivi, Wonder Egg Priority, and Jujutsu Kaisen.
so 50% easy. Give
Yeah.
it to me.
So I gotta say this, and Wonder Egg Priority, I feel is really it's between Wonder Egg Priority and Jujutsu Kaisen. I love Vivi. I just feel with Vivi, like it's just the main characters that kind of have that, like when we're talking
Actual
about
design.
the best character design, like Vivi and all the main characters, so the robot companion, um and the doctor and stuff like that, like I think are done really well, but then kind of everybody else is kind of like 50-50. I feel like with Wonder Egg Priority, there's so much, it's so random, the show itself, that the design, everything in it is just adds to it. So I think they did a really good job with the art. The art style itself is so beautiful in One Direct Priority. But honestly, I'm gonna have to give it to Jujutsu Kaisen, because Jujutsu Kaisen, when I watch it, it reminds me of, and we've said this many times, Jujutsu Kaisen is better Naruto at the end of the day, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think the character designs reminds me of something you would see in like Naruto. Everybody's unique. Everybody has personality and flavor, and it just gives me good vibes watching it. So when I look at the best character design, One Direct Priority does really well with that, but I think Jujutsu Kaisen just takes the cake. It like gives me that nostalgic feeling when I see all the characters, but it's like still kind of, it's unique. Everyone's different, and I love it. So that's what I'm gonna give it to.
I second everything Gunner said. I mean, kind of the same boat. And I like that in the anime they talk, or in the books too, they talk about like, hey, we want you guys to personalize your outfits. So the fact that they're all technically wearing the same outfit,
Mm-hmm.
but everyone, you can tell that everyone looks different,
Mm-hmm.
is I think a cool thing. And also too, like, as someone who likes to buy a lot of like anime, just like from like small brand like anime stickers and stuff, you can't like swing a dead cat without hitting a Yuji or a Satoru Gojo sticker. And like, you have good character design when like that, like everyone wants to make a sticker of that character because obviously they're designed well. So that's mine. Raw.
I'm gonna have to go
A taxi.
spat for yep.
Fucking you it.
Come on, man. Literally every character is personified by an animal, you know. The police, the raccoons, they can be shady. You don't know if they're good or bad, if they're nice or mean. The main character is a walrus. What the hell does that mean? And you don't know what these animals represent to these characters until you learn about them and figure out their past. And
Oh, okay.
so like each animal represents the qualities that the person they've been given to. And I think it's just a very well thought out way to design characters.
No, I agree. I think One Direct Priority, or not One Direct Priority. I mean,
Odd
I think
Odd
Odd
Taxi.
Taxi that is really good. Like when you think of a disgruntled taxi driver, I picture
like a
the
walrus.
like a walrus, like, you know, and like everybody else, like the shady police officers, like everybody, the llama, that's the nurse,
llama.
like
Mhm.
yeah, like it nails it on the money. Like it definitely see why it's on there. So the character is very unique. So I definitely agree. I think that one's a really good. I think all of them did really great. Like I said, the weakest link on there is definitely Ranking of Kings. But I agree. I think I agree with Odd Taxi is a good choice. I like, just for me though, Jujutsu Kaisen, just it's classic, love it.
Yeah, I was gonna
Jennifer
say, like,
Lawrence, you know,
you always
gotta
say
go.
like we've seen it before. It's
Yeah,
like Naruto.
yeah, no, it's
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, we've seen
it's
it
nice
before.
to see something new.
Oh yeah, exactly. I get you on that. And I do have to say, with One Direct Priority, the main character, Ai Odo, fucking, I want to get a statue of her. She like shit, not statue, but like a figure. Shit's fucking. I just love the character design because like she's got the what's it, the dichrome. She's got the two different color
she's
eyes.
heterochromatic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And everything, like, and then when she's some, like, so when in that one, in One Direct Priority, for those that haven't seen it, they kind of go into almost like this dreamlike world, and they have to fight monsters and stuff. And those monsters are like personifications of people who have died. Their like fears and their pretty much what caused them to, because it's all about suicide is a big topic in the anime. So it what they fight is the personification of why they killed themselves and stuff. So when she the main character is fighting, she has this like this scissor sword thing. Shit's fucking wild. It's super colorful. And if we were just talking about like best main characters designs, I think One Direct Priority would win it.
That's
Like
right.
that. Yeah. But yeah. Anyone else want to add anything to this one?
No, I think
Yeah.
we've
good.
nailed it. Oh boy, there we go. This is the fun one that I think we're all gonna fight about. All
Best
right, kids. This is it. This is the fun part. Um, this is where we get into the water cooler topics. You know what I mean? You talk about these with the homies. Best animation nominees.
Talk about with the homies all the time.
Um, obviously we have Demon Slayer, Mugen Train, Jujutsu Kaisen season or Core 2, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S, Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation Core 1, Vivi, Fluorite Ice Song, and Wonder Egg Priority. This is gonna be I say Demon Slayer.
I like how you just blurted it out.
No explanation needed.
No explanation.
I mean that fight, Rengoku versus what's his name? You know his name, Chris. You always say it.
Akaza.
Akaza. Like, wow.
Well, since he's saying it, I'm seconding that, and it's not even close. That
Not even
That-
close.
Not
That-
even close. You're saying
that-
this is shut
the
out.
animation for the fight against the demon that took over the train and Rengoku versus Akaza is some of the best animation of a fight scene I've ever seen in my life. And Ufotable always seems to like flabbergast me with how good they can make something look. So
Would
Demon
it be
Slayer,
safe to
and
say,
it's not
Chris, since you're the Fate fan along with me,
Yeah.
is the animation for Demon Slayer better than Fate?
depends on the fight.
Okay,
Well, how about
and
not just
which-
the,
and
not,
which
not,
fate?
let's not just look at the fights, but just in general.
In general, yeah. In
anime to anime.
general, anime to anime, if we're not looking at fights, I think Fate's animation is better just from like, normal talking points and plot and stuff like that.
Mm.
In regard to fights, overall, I think Demon Slayer has the edge over Fate because of like, how old the Fate series is. But I will say, I think now I need to like look into a little bit more like of their anime, but I think Ufotable is probably my favorite animation studio, like NA. It's so good. Even more than Studio Trigger. And I have a big heart on for Studio
He does
Trigger.
have a big heart for Studio Trigger.
This is true.
Um,
This is true.
Yeah. Demon Slayer, not even close, baby. We move on from there.
But you're saying for the award, you'd give Demon Slayer Mugen Train. That
Yes.
is pinnacle. Cannot be.
It's Pinnacle. Yep.
So for those of you who don't know, so UFO Table has cut their teeth as the Fate Stay Night series. So they did Fate Zero, and then they did Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, and then they did a couple others. So God Eater, Tales of Zestiria. So they did like video game animations of anime as a video games, and then they went into Demon Slayer. And so they've done all the Demon Slayer. So the 3.5 seasons. Or 3 seasons of Demon Slayer that they've done. Where was I going with this? Cloverworks is the one that's done the most recent Fate stuff. So they did Fate Apocrypha. They did Your Lie in April. They did a bunch of stuff. So that's like the kind of the difference. But I think both. I mean, it's it's like picking Tom Brady. I mean, I guess obviously we know we'd rather have Tom Brady because of the championships, but it's like picking Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. You're gonna be happy with whoever you get. I think
That makes sense. I get what you're saying. I mean, both of them do amazing work. So it's like you said, happy either way. But going back to topic, best animation. Raul, you're kind of quiet. What do you think?
they were all stupid.
And
Hot
no,
Taxi.
it's a tough one. If I could vote on Taxi, I would. Okay, it wouldn't win, but I would vote for it.
Guys, I promise it's good. Listen to me.
We're gonna write it in right now. Petition
Vivi's
to
just
get it
so pretty, aside from like fighting,
Mhm.
like every episode, just normal progression. It's just beautiful. The snow, the performances they put on when they sing. It's really thought out. Lots of colors. But, Demon Slayer is the shiny new car everybody wants. So yeah,
Someone sounds a little
Demon Slayer.
jaded.
Listen, the road less traveled is often the best road to take. Vivi all the way. 10 out of 10.
Vivi all the way.
Vivi all the way. 10 out of 10. You said it yourself.
Listen,
It's beautiful. Okay.
I would hop on that train.
Then hop on it.
The Mugen train.
I would.
I thought that was funny.
That was good. That was good. But this is serious. We ain't got time for that
But
shit.
but if I had to put like if it was a betting man,
Yeah.
you would lose that bet.
No. Will
Yeah.
not.
Demon
If
Will
Slayer.
Demon
not-
Slayer doesn't win, I would say maybe Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, because that's made by Kyoto Animation, and Kyoto Animation does like the Kyoto Animation
some
did
great
Violet
stuff.
Evergarden. So
Got you. I mean, like, yeah, Dragon
And
Maid
Sound
is
Euphonium.
cute.
Got to.
Like Wonder Egg Priority, like it's beautiful. But if we're
Hmm.
talking about like the best animation,
the best.
and I'm not just talking about like you said, like we said, I feel like everybody with Demon Slayer really focuses on the fight scenes. But we're not talking about best fucking fight right now. We're talking about best animation in general. Best animation in general, Vivi, all the way, 10 out of 10. If you don't like it, get out. Simple as that.
If
Someone
you
said
don't
something
like it, get out.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Every episode of Vivi, like just done. It's like a masterclass. Love it. Watch it over. I've watched it 3 times now. It's
And
just
what's
fucking
crazy
beautiful.
too is that every 2 episodes is a different time period, a different place.
Mhm.
So it's not like Demon Slayer where it's always like woods and dark and
Yeah,
the same houses everywhere. It's a different environment every time and always pretty.
yeah. It evolves, and the way it evolves, because it goes from like we're going from like a couple years to like almost like 20, 30 years to almost 100 years, like in the gaps, like the time jumps, and like you really can see it, and just how it connects. Oh, beautiful. You can't tell me otherwise. I'm not gonna
So
believe you.
last thing for
Yeah.
Vivi, the Death Star scene. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yep. When they're in the ship,
Yep.
Yep.
Crazy.
that whole it beautifully
They're on
done.
the island, the
Yeah.
robot island.
Mm-hmm.
Robot Pirate Island. Fucking love that
Yes.
shit.
When they're yeah.
Okay, well, now that we are all silently hating each other right now for our
Yeah.
I
choices.
changed my vote. We're going 50-50.
Yeah.
Vivi.
There we
See,
go.
I don't
now
mind
that
losing
we're all
that. I
sitting
don't
here
mind
fuming at
losing
each
that.
other.
Yeah.
Best director. I do feel like best director is one of those ones where it's kind of like when like for anime at least, it's like when someone wins best like cinematographer, and you're kind of like, what role does that person play in like making the anime? You know what I mean? But I think it's definitely underrated in terms of establishing like what shots you want to use, or like for example for Attack on Titan, what panels they would like to use. And then obviously they direct the voice actors and stuff. So I think it has a little more weight than I think a lot of the anime community puts weight on it. So I'm glad that it is like I guess it's part of the upper echelon of this director or the nominees. But we have Yurichiro Hayashi, who did Attack on Titan season 1 or final season part 1, Sung-Hoo Park, who did Jujutsu Kaisen Core 2, Yo Moriyama, who did Megalobox 2, Nomad, Bako Kinoshita, who did Odd Taxi, Shingo Natsume, who did Sunny Boy, and Shin Wakabayashi, who did Wonder Egg Priority. And I think for me, it's gonna be Attack on Titan with Yurichiro Hayashi.
Back.
Tell me Attack on Titan season 1 part 1,
just kidding,
the
I'm just
final,
kidding.
the end eventually.
Part one was very, because I definitely get what you're coming from. When we're talking about like a director, you gotta remember they're the ones that are making have to make the story make sense.
Their final shots on final
Exactly.
calls on shit.
So if an anime doesn't make sense, then it falls back on the director. They're the ones that call the shots, and everything we see and everything we know about it, and the continuity wise and all that falls back on the director. I agree with Attack on Titan part 1 for the final season. We've had so many questions, and it wrapped it up like perfectly. Like I feel like pretty much every question that hasn't been answered is going to be answered in part 2, but for a majority, everything made sense that I saw. It made sense in when we're looking back throughout the series.
Agreed.
And I do agree it did really good with that. I love the and then
This is where the butt comes in.
I also want to say that when we're talking about it, the way that the director like that part one of the final season did a really good job of when we're talking about it's Marley, right? The other
The
land.
Marley arc.
Yeah. The Marley arc, and then comparing it to like Eren and everybody on the island. Really painting that morally gray area where it's like really who is the real bad guy has really been like it. You really don't know who to root for, and I think also that's really hard to do, and I think it really helped overall for Attack on Titan. And I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but like when I watched part one, I was like, going into it, I was like, oh well, yeah, Marley, they're assholes, right? And like you kind of get that, but then when you look at the people themselves, and like you look at Gabby and all of them, everyone who's who they work for Marley, when you understand a little bit more about them and and the way they think and stuff, it's like you kind of understand a little bit, and it kind of makes you like there's no clear cut. Like I know who I want to root for, but I can kind of go back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I mean, yeah, the writer of Attack on Titan, I'm gonna get his name right because I feel bad I feel like I should know it with how big of an impact he's. But the writer, the guy who wrote it, I mean, obviously he had an easier job when when you're taking stuff off the page of such a well-written book, a serious story, it's kind of an easy job. And then again, as I say that, I think about Harry Potter and how different that shit turned out to be. But
have you seen that meme on TikTok where they're reading an excerpt out of Harry Potter? It's from The Goblet of Fire, when it's like Dumbledore slowly looks over at Harry.
Oh yeah, and then he kicks the fucking door in.
He's like, Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? And then it cuts to like the movie where Dumbledore's literally like smacking the shit out of Harry. He's like, you put your name in the fucking Goblet of Fire, Harry.
Very different energy, so it can be definitely interpreted differently. I don't know. I'm sorry, me and Gunnar went on a tangent. So do you guys have a vote? Do you care?
When I think of director, I think of like how everything meshes together based off of their direction. And
Escaped Infinity on this fucking thing.
No.
Oh, okay.
With how perfect Attack on Titan first part of last season is, it's got to be Attack on Titan. It's just so insane how well everything works together, from the voice acting to the animation to the music to the to everything. It's to like the screenshots. It's all crazy. So Attack on Titan, not even close. I feel so bad because Jujutsu. I was so hype on Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm pretty sure I haven't said Jujutsu Kaisen in any of these like once. So.
I know. I think also too. You gotta be realistic with yourself. Because the fanboy in me, I'm reading it all, and I'm like, God, Jujutsu Kaisen's so good. But I'm like, okay, I have to like compare it to like Attack on Titan. And
yeah. So Attack on Titan, hands down.
I will say, so I haven't read the anime or the manga, but my brother has and is caught up, and we've made it a kind of a ritual to just sit and watch it together every Sunday. And after the Warhammer fight, he looks at me and he says, that's exactly how I remember it in the manga. So to be able to translate the book like 100% thus far as a reader interprets it, it's a great job.
Yeah.
Holy crap, we got one that was unanimous from what.
Well, I have to say, but going, but
we
gotta, okay, now shut the fuck up. First of all, get that out of the way real quick. The Megaloblocks 2,
actually,
Nomad, beautifully done. When you're talking about a story of not only a story of redemption, but it's kind of like that story of perseverance. It does so beautifully, and then the choices that Megaloblocks took, especially when you look at like thematically wise, musically wise, how it all kind of blends together. Megaloblocks 2 Nomad was beautifully done, and I have to believe a lot of that it comes from the director and kind of like bringing it all together. And I also feel like it has a little bit of for myself personally, because it has like this Hispanic heritage kind of to it. A lot of the music is like inspired by Latin America. The first big arc in Megalobox it talks about pretty much it's not only redemption for Joe, the main character, but also
for Mexicans.
no, yeah, that's so the first
That's
arc.
cool.
He's Joe, who's the main fighter in Megalobox, and he's on it. We don't know why just yet, but he's pretty much he went from hero to zero, so he's like back to no name. Everyone hates him. He's kind of just forgotten about, and he gets kind of stuck in the middle of nowhere. And he's actually with a lot of these like Mexican immigrants that have coming over to the States.
Let's go, baby.
And they there's like this abandoned like fairground that they kind of build a community in and stuff. And it kind of talks about in the first arc is him and it's pretty much, long story short, they have to fight for their community. And it's not Joe fighting; he's actually training one of the other members of the community.
Is this the anime origin story of Canelo Alvarez? Did we do it? Did we make it into the fucking?
Listen, all I'm saying is that for like just culturally is no. All I'm saying is culturally wise, I felt like it made me feel. I don't feel like you see a lot of like Mexican representation in anime. I feel like it's gotten a lot better, but it was really nice to see, and I really loved it. And I really love that, like I said, again, it ties back to perseverance and this idea of keep our being able to keep going even when you're at the lowest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I gotta say that was done amazingly. And Sunny Boy, I didn't understand what was going on. It felt like a
Sunny. Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, it's like a Devilman Crybaby, but more confusing. But that was also done very well. But I just want to. Those are two. It was very close for all of these. One Day Priority is the only one that for me kind of fell off. Like story, like I said, I think the most important thing is we're talking about like continuity, and I just felt like One Day Priority, like towards the end, I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but not like in a Sunny Boy way, kind of like this plot is just stupid kind of way,
Man.
But I do agree. I think overall Attack on Titan final season part 1 is my vote, is gonna win. But I wanted to at least talk about Megalobox 2 Nomad because I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, and I really do think it does a really good job on all those points I talked about, and I recommend everybody, if you haven't watched it, you should definitely watch it. It's definitely worth a go through. Okay,
all in favor of Attack on Titan. Say aye.
Yeah,
Aye.
All right, moving on.
Best fight scene. This is it, boys. This is when you put the air horns in the fucking. We got Eren Yeager versus the Warhammer Titan. An Attack on Titan final season part 1. Naruto Uzumaki versus Ishiki Otsutsuki from Boruto Naruto The Next Generation. Yuji Itadori and Aoi Todo, aka the Boogie Woogie, versus Hanami from Jujutsu Kaisen Core 2. Yuji Itadori and Nobara Kugisaki versus Ezo and Kechizu, which were the what are they called? The Curse Brothers. At the end of the second season, or the second part of the season. Elma versus Toru, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S, and Vivi versus Yugo Kaketani, Vivi Floor Eyes Song. Yuji Itadori and Nobara Kugisaki versus Esso and Kechizu is my favorite fight out of all these on the list. So that's my pick.
That was quick.
Seconded.
It was the Sakura fight that never happened.
That fight is so good, like so good. It is the pinnacle of like it's definitely top 3 fights of all time for me. I'm so that's my pick. I am a little sad that Akaza versus Rengoku didn't show up on this list for some reason. That's a little strange to me. I know you can only put 6 on there, and I hear that or I've seen it. I've seen the Kobayashi's Dragon Maid one, and it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting that from Kobayashi, but so I
You think it's
understand.
better?
I understand, but it's kind of weird that Akaza versus Rengoku didn't make it. But yes, Itadori and Nobara versus Eso and Kechizu was freaking crazy good. So yeah, pinnacle.
One thing to say.
Say it.
Besto friendo.
Besto friend of the clapping.
Besto friendo.
Boogie Woogie.
The
Boogie Woogie is
Woogie.
iconic.
That, yes.
That's fair.
That is the best fight.
It's a
of the
great
year.
fight, but it's not better than Nobara and Itadori.
Okay. Well,
I just like that fight. Like it doesn't have anything to do with like this time. I just think it's cool that Nobara. You find out more about how Nobara's powers work, and then like showing how versatile that ability is when you really think about it.
To be the devil's advocate, then, since I agree with you, but the best of friendo fight,
Oh, that's
right,
true. That was-
is where we find out Itadori can do like that insane punch. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh,
It's like
Black
the
Flash?
Yeah.
Not once.
But
not
twice.
twice.
What? Yeah, was it 3
Not
times? Isn't it 3
twice.
times? Because the only person who's
3
been able to do it was
times.
Yeah.
Glasses.
And
What's the glasses name?
Nanami. Yeah. And he like clapped he clapped Hanami. It was kind of crazy. So
True.
also best of friendo is
You can't tell me the special
Cool.
grade getting impaled by the tree wasn't gold.
Oh, that's true. That was a good one too.
That was.
I don't know, man. I think for me the music does it for the Ichizu the UDG Itadori Nobara fight. I thought the music really set like the tone for it. That's what did it for me. I think. But so you're gonna say the Boogie Woogie?
Boogie woogie all the way.
the boogie woogie.
Gunner's gonna turn this. I'm
This is gonna
curious
be
what Gunner's gonna
Vivi,
say.
And
Here comes the VV thing. All right, let's hear it.
maybe
And then
Warhammer
somehow bring in
Titan.
some Megalobox.
okay. I got a lot of anger, but I'm trying to control it.
Just don't vote for the Naruto.
The
fight
Crunchyroll
and-
Awards. It's it's a time to be civil.
I will say if
Bring
we're
your
talking
best
most
face.
impactful, I definitely think the Boruto one does just because, and spoilers, this is the death of Kurama in the Boruto. Yep, spoilers, bitches.
No, but my thing doesn't that feel more like
That's
a
for the old
Naruto
heads.
thing? Exactly. It feels more like a Naruto thing.
If
than-
it's
than
like
Boruto.
it's an appeal to the homies that like grew up with Naruto and are like, oh, Kurama died. So, but
Too
if-
bad half of us aren't even there. So
Well,
don't watch it.
so I watched all the fights. I'm not caught up
Vivi
on.
was dope. I'll give you
I-
that. Vivi was dope.
It was beautiful. Like I have a lot to say, but
I am a
I'm gonna
sucker for
start.
hand-to-hand combat. So
God, and then listen. Okay, we're gonna talk about the Vivi one. Okay,
yes, we
So-
are.
Gunner has a 10-minute PowerPoint on each fight.
this fight is the best. Like I think the best. It's my vote. Vivi, of course, Vivi versus Yugo wins it for me. Reason being is the point we're at in the anime. You got to remember, this is all of a sudden this assailant comes out, and it really this is a big plot twist when we talking about in the whole scale of the anime, because Vivi has been knows pretty much an idea of what's going to be happening. I mean, obviously she finds out more because it's only what history knows, right? Because her and the big robot
Matsumoto.
Matsumoto's giving her all the information, and it's up to Vivi to fix the past so that way we can branch off into the correct timeline that we need to save the world. This fight is so epic because he comes out of nowhere and he's on par with not only Vivi, but there's another fight going on where Matsumoto is fighting, and Matsumoto is meeting his match, which is the first point in the anime that happens because he's supposed to be from the future and he's supposed to be the late. Yeah, go.
Think like Terminator 2.
Exactly. And it and while both of these fights are going on at the same fucking time, so you're just cutting back and forth, and the way they're fighting is intertwined with the other fights. If we're going back, it's going to direction style, like it just fucking was done beautifully. I gave it to Vivi versus Hugo all the way, beautifully done, and the ending of the fight and where it leads off at, oh, cliffhangers. It makes you so stoked for the rest, and it leads in for the rest of the part of the season. It's just like,
They're
oh,
gonna
so
good.
good.
Does it end on a note where there's a season 2, or is it?
No, it's done. It's done.
Okay.
Vivi in
And-
the yeah,
Can robots commit suicide?
this is true.
Well, now I'm speaking of. Now we're talking about dark things. Time for best antagonist nominees.
But wait, hold on. I do want to say that that's my vote. But all of these fights were very good.
Megalobox.
I did watch Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. It's not my cup of tea, but I watched the fight. The fight was good. I have to say my least favorite fight on here had to be the Boruto fight, if I'm kind of honest with you guys. And I kind of wanted to talk about this with you because I don't know how you guys feel. I kind of feel like Boruto, where it's at now, suffers this, and I've kind of talked to Raul a little bit about this, but Boruto, I feel, suffers the same thing the Fast and Furious franchise suffers from. And what I mean is when we're talking about like when Naruto started, right?
Oh, where we ended up, yeah.
It's
a
like
little crazy.
ninjas and shit, and like Fast and Furious is like racing cars and shit.
Now
Where
there's
we look at
space.
where we look at where Fast and Furious is the franchise is at now, they got cars that they're racing in space and shit. The fuck does that mean? I don't know. And like I was watching this Boruto fight with Naruto versus how do you say the other guy's name?
Iki?
Yeah, that guy. And like everything that's going on, all these like it was like cybernetics with jutsu, with everything. Naruto looks like he's like a superhero at the end of it, which is like weird.
You know what? Now that you're on that tangent, it really started at the end of Naruto. Like when we finished the whole, what was the first like moon girl?
Oh yeah.
Kaguya. Oh,
Yeah, so
Kaguya.
they did a whole
Kaguya.
arc on that fight.
Mhm.
You know, Kakashi, Naruto, Sasuke, they're going all out to save the world. Then we get 10 episodes later, Naruto and Sasuke are fighting in space. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, man, because there's the people that live in the moon, dog.
It's just
Easy.
it was just for where we
A lot.
started, which was like ninjas like finding lost dogs and shit, and like fighting other ninjas on bridges, to like fighting on the moon. It kind of lost it for me. I have to be honest. Like I was a little, because I thought this fight was gonna be super good, and to be honest, I kind of thought it was like I understand emotionally why this is a good fight for all the reasons you say. We lose someone in the franchise that has been there from the beginning. We lose the Nine Tails, but I just felt overall, I just wasn't. I was feeling it. I kind
Say his name, Gunner. He has his name. God damn it.
It is the Nine Tails, always and forever.
Ah.
But
but we're split, huh?
yeah, for me, I think it's Vivi. I think all the fights are good. I just don't like the Boruto fight.
I'm surprised no one voted Jaeger.
The Attack on Titan.
It was
Jaeger versus the
gangster.
Warhammer.
Yeah, but
It was cool, but
like-
it wasn't even the best fight of that part.
No.
The best fight was Levi versus
That's true.
Zeke.
It's not even the best fight of the
That is-
series. The when Aaron and
The first
he
fight
had-
between Aaron and Reiner for me is the
Yeah.
best fight of the series.
I
That
have
shit
they-
went fucking hard.
I actually like this. This is probably more. I think the Levi fight when he's in the forest,
Forest.
fighting the Beast
Like
Titan.
Zeke.
Fighting
yeah.
Zeke. I think that's the best for me.
Oh yeah, that's by far the best.
But I really like this part because in the anime, it's just like shit just hits the fan like in a crazy way. I wasn't expecting it to like have that to happen. And like just for like you have seeing all the Titans like fight each other, like it's almost like a Godzilla movie. For me, I thought was kind of dope, to be honest. If I had to be, and then you have the scouts coming in on the fucking blimps and everything, and it's like a whole. It's like a Call of Duty video game, but with Titans. Like it was pretty sick. But I think overall, like I said, Vivi for me, Vivi versus Hugo, 10 out of 10. Want to see it again.
We'll see. We should keep tally. We should rewatch these episodes, see who got the most right.
I actually did while Gunnar was on his 10 step PowerPoint about Megalobox. I was looking up our picks from last year, and we were pretty close, dude.
Nice.
So
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 we
let's
should
see.
do it.
Were you guys right on
Megalobox.
best antagonist?
Aaron Yeager.
Aaron Yeager.
Okay, well let's go into that. So
All right. So best
I have-
antagonist.
Okay,
Really
go ahead.
fast.
I'll let you go for it.
Eren Yeager, Attack on Titan, once again. Tomura Shigaraki from My Hero Academia. Yano from Odd Taxi. Echidna from season 2 of ReZero, who I think was on it last year. So I'm automatically X her off. If you didn't win the first time, you don't get second try.
I don't think that's how super schools work.
Adam, who Chris has his Zoom call as Adam best protagonist, so we know we're antagonist. So Chris, we know Chris stands, and Teda Kisaki from Tokyo Revengers.
Kisaki.
Oh, Kisaki. I'm sorry. I haven't seen Tokyo Revengers, but I know Raul is the Tokyo Revengers fanboy.
Listen, all I have to say is Yano and Kisaki. I don't think they deserve to be on this list.
Really?
I don't
Are
know.
those hot takes? I haven't seen Odd Taxi enough to like agree with you.
I don't know if there wasn't enough antagonists to go around, but I just
wait, you
they're
said you don't
definitely
think
bottom two.
you don't think Shigaraki should be on the list? You said
No,
No,
Kisaki
Kisaki.
and
oh
Yano.
Kasaki. I was like,
And yeah, so
Yeah.
the Porcupine dude, and then the guy who
Yeah.
looks like the two other Majin gang members.
We
Is it a requirement to have a shaved side head and be blonde to be in
Yes.
this gang, or
yeah, it is. And you have to have a motorcycle. That is.
I don't know if he's kidding about the blonde thing, but
No, there's one dude with black hair actually.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
He's
chills.
the
But
black.
it's still long and wavy and flowy. So, but I'm gonna say what I said. Yano, Kasaki,
uh-huh.
bottom of this.
So
list.
wait, who's your vote then?
But what before you say your vote, what makes you put Yano at the bottom? If I can ask, like, what in your opinion?
I mean, he's not even like that evil.
not
like,
that bad.
You know, like his impact isn't even as. I'm just saying, like Odd Taxi as a whole is like a murder mystery. There's no like two sides really fighting. You know, there's no conflict. They're just trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
You know, and he's just the slumlord on the other side that's running everything. He didn't like cause the murder. It just happened under his watch.
Well, spoilers, I guess.
Spoilers alert. But
I mean, nah, that's not even a spoiler.
so you give him. So you say he gets a bad rap. He does not deserve to be an antagonist.
Not on this list. He's
Like compared to like
he is the
Eren or like
antagonist.
Shigaraki.
Yeah, but
he's an antagonist if you're talking about a literary sense of like the
Yeah.
person who like is
Yeah.
is the opposite of the
Yeah.
protagonist.
Yeah.
But he's not like when you think bad guy.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
I mean, he
morally
is
gray.
definitely a bad guy, but he's not like.
He's not Eren Yeager bad.
Yeah,
He's not war criminal.
he's just
bad.
trying to make some.
But
money,
is he?
that's it.
But is he Eren Yeager good?
No.
One's Eren Yeager good.
Okay.
And then Kisaki, I mean, we've barely seen him. He's kind of like that shadow in the background, like not shadow in the back, like the how do you say it?
Yeah, he's like he's the shadow in the back.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
like a
he
master,
hasn't-
like a mastermind
he's-
kind of
he's
thing.
He's planning and plotting, and he's doing his thing behind scenes. And we have speculation that he's running things, but it's not a direct, like I said.
Nothing's
like
nothing's like it's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely evil and like
Yeah.
crazy, but it's not nearly on the scales like Shigaraki or Eren Yeager, and I'm assuming the other two.
Mhm.
So my pick is Eren Yeager. I will say Shigaraki. Great. I think it's too soon for him to win this, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Eren Yeager should be on here. Eren Yeager should be on here. I think Eren Yeager is the greatest morally ambiguous character in anime. The question is that does he win best protagonist and antagonist? So he's his own villain. He's just a
You-
Spider-Man meme of him pointing at himself the whole time. This motherfucker keeps getting in my way.
Nah, best protagonist locked in the bag, easy.
I say Aaron because right now he has everyone on the edge of their seats, and like it's kind of like that like TikTok meme where he's like, whether like I know something you don't.
It's like him against the world.
Yeah. So I think when like Shigaraki's cool and everyone's like, oh no, he's like against the hero society, but like Aaron's like, we're doing some like civil like World War III shit, but it's all of you against me. Like even like his best friends are like, I don't think he fucks with us anymore. So Aaron Yeager, easy.
Aaron Yeager, same vote.
Okay, here we go. What Gunner? Here we go. Hit us with the 10-point PowerPoint, baby.
Shigaraki all the way. That's
Okay.
it. That's
He's
it.
not
No.
evil yet. He hasn't.
What are you
That's what
about?
I'm
He
saying.
murdered.
Embraced
He
the evil.
murdered. Did you not like? What do you mean he
He-
hasn't fully? He fully embraced. Like, can we just talk a second? Like his backstory. Like when you find out,
That doesn't make him
Shigaraki-
evil though. That makes him sympathetic.
He's just
not
a-
sympathetic, but like when you just see like I just seeing where he comes from and what makes him the way he is, and like seeing I understand we can be sympathetic for young Shigaraki as a child. You can be sympathetic for the child, but you can't be sympathetic for the adult that he is now. You know what I mean? At this point, he's like, at this point with the whole villains arc that we just saw, he just mass murdered like almost a whole fucking village. You know what I mean? Like his kill count is pretty fucking high.
To
And
be fair, they were cultists.
they were more not morally gray. They were bad. They're
They were
bad.
bad
they were
people.
straight
They
up
were
just
bad.
like,
Yeah,
we're
they're bad
fighting
people.
you.
They're bad people. I agree. But you know, I just character progression. I feel like Shigaraki has come from being a, you know, like you said, he's been like a whiny kid villain to what he is now and what he's going to be for this next arc in My Hero.
Okay, that's exactly what my comment is. I think it's too early for him to win
Nah.
this award.
Nah,
Yeah.
I don't think he's there yet. He's
think
definitely
he's
gonna
there.
get there, but he's not there
Nah,
yet.
I think he's
Compared to
there.
where Aaron Yeager is
Yeah,
now,
I agree. I
we're
agree
at
100%. We're all.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing. I think it to make Aaron Yeager the best protagonist. I think another reason why I don't want to give to Aaron Yeager, because I do agree with this last part one of the final season of Attack on Titan. Like he is a bad guy. Like shit, it's bad.
He is. Evil.
He's
He's not evil. That's I
he's
think the
not-
beauty of it is
He's
that like yeah. Okay, so sorry, Gunnar. I know I'm kicking in on
no,
your
no,
thing,
no,
but,
no,
like,
go.
like the big thing with Shigaraki, right, is already in our heads. We were like, when everyone's like, All for One is, or Shigaraki is All for One's protege, we're like, okay, so he has to be evil by that default, right? Whereas with Aaron, I think a good villain. It's like why like the Joker is so popular, right? Because the Joker, even though he does do murderous things, like in the Dark Knight, his reasoning, you're like, well, yeah, like the world, like there are people who get pushed to the limits and go down this dark road. And I think, right, from understanding Aaron's journey of him wanting revenge and then watching him do these heinous things. And again, it's not even best villain, it's best antagonist. And I think he is the best antagonist in the sense that to watch him go from the person that we root for, like like I have like kids in my classes who are like, I hope Aaron dies because he's just like this. He hasn't even, I mean, he did like, he hasn't like done anything himself entirely heinous, right? I mean, they were going to wage war against the Marleyans anyway, but like to watch him become this person who's like, well, I have to become, he almost is like Batman. I'm gonna say that this is gonna be, because you can tell like, and obviously it's like that, like us watching it as viewers, but he's become a character that like you can understand why he's doing this. His friends don't because it's part of their storyline. But for us, like I can see why he's like, well, I have to become this monster because like I'm fighting monsters.
and to Gunner's same point, the progression from Shigaraki to where he is now,
He just
we
stayed
saw-
evil.
yeah, we saw Jaeger grow into this role, or Aaron from a teenager to now. Like there's a huge gap that he evolved into what he is now. Where Shigaraki, it's kind of the same, but Aaron Yeager is farther along in his
Yeah.
progression than
Listen,
Shigaraki.
I get what
And
you're
I
saying.
think another thing too, I'm gonna just jump in really fast on this is that Shigaraki, if Shigaraki finishes his mission, he has his whole life to to bask in the glory of his victories. But Aaron dies in like a couple years. It's not like he's like
Yeah.
he doesn't hit like he's not gonna live to see his master plan come to fruition. He's playing this game like, well, I will die soon. So he is like, I have to create a lasting empire. I don't know what you want to call it, empire goal mission. It has to like endure past me. Whereas like Shigaraki's is like, if I die, who knows if there will be another all for one, so to speak, right? Will the cycle continue with him? Whereas with Aaron, you're like, how does this end? Because Aaron dies at the end of this. Like, not like in the actual anime, but he will die in a couple years, right? He's talked about it in the show. He's like, I die in 2 years.
Because he's eaten a titan, or he has a titan. One of the.
It's been about. So he got the titan. You die after 7 years. So he has like 2 years left, I think he says.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, whatever his world conquering is, he will not be the king of this new empire. He will be the revolutionary who died for it. But like, whereas with Shigaraki, he can have a more immediate, and I think a villain to have for him, he's battling for legacy more than I just want to destroy the heroes kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Okay, you convince me. I get it. But like, my only thing is, the reason I don't want to vote for Eren Yeager is, I guess at the end of part 1, and I guess that's probably why the same reason why they have him as best protagonist. Spoiler, he's a nominee for that. They've kind of left him like, oh, he's actually the good guy, and everything he did was like I feel like they're almost trying to wash away everything that he did. I feel like I wish the story would have taken it, like you said, like it's like sometimes like kind of the route is like, we got to do bad things for the betterment of the world sometimes, and I feel like that would have been would have been good. I just feel like they're gonna, and we'll see how part 2 wraps it all up. I feel like they want kind of the best of both worlds, and it sometimes like good people have to turn bad to to do what reach goals and stuff.
Yeah, there was someone. Yeah, there was I forget what it was, but they were like, bad people get shit done.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what they get, they're a straight line to their end goal. Mm-hmm. Humans, heroes, right? Like Captain America or like Spider-Man can't just like murder all his villains because it'd be too easy. Mm-hmm. But villains like right, Green Goblin could just throw Gwen Stacy off a fucking bridge and go like, well, I've done my job for today. Like, there's no middleman for that.
Yeah.
Whereas Spider-Man's like, well, I can't just like break all his, like I can't break his neck even though I want to. Like,
there's a difference. Yeah, there's a difference, and I that's kind of why it's so hard. Like, I kind of have a reserve about voting for Eren for best antagonist, because like I feel like they're kind of like trying to paint him like, oh, like forget about all that bad stuff he did. He did it like he's actually a good guy. Like he actually has a good heart. It's like, no, go ahead.
In the end, he's gonna die, so it don't matter.
I know it. Well, it matters to me. It matters to me. Okay, but
Chris, Adam, best protagonist.
Yes.
Antagonist. I'm sorry, not antagonist.
Yes. Well, best protagonist. I'm kidding. Yeah, best antagonist. The definition of an antagonist is someone that opposes the main character and stands in their way. And Adam does that the best, in my opinion. Because Eren can't stand in his own way if he's also the protagonist, so I'm not counting him.
True.
So
who's to say? Who paid attention in AP?
I actually don't like the fact that they put him as the best antagonist and protagonist. It's like, you can't necessarily be both unless you are saying that someone else is a protagonist, then you can say that. So I don't count Eren. Shigaraki is one of my favorite anime characters of all time, but I would agree with you guys that he's not there yet. And then who are the other ones? Haven't seen any of the other ones. And Adam, I think Adam does the best job at standing in the way of the two protagonists, and not just them, but like everybody. And the fact that he's kind of like, he's really loony, like he's psycho, and he doesn't. Everyone is like, oh, skateboarding should be fun. Skateboarding, all this friendshipy. it's all this friendshipy bullshit, and he's like, no, skateboarding is life and death, and it's like, okay, bro, like
This
he
dude watch-
legit he has pushed someone off a cliff before, and
What the fuck?
like he tries multiple times to do it again.
Bro,
and
Johnny
he's
Johnny
like-
Tsunami would have been lit as fuck if they were like die or surf. There's no in between.
Exactly. No, one of my favorite scenes of anime ever actually is, so he's named Adam because he's trying to find his Eve, right? And so he kind of takes this infatuation with Longa, the boring main character, because Longa is like crazy good. And he's like, he finally found someone that can challenge how good Adam is. And so the last race, Adam like snaps and goes off the deep end, and he like changes his whole getup to like, this is going to be a funeral for one of us, and he builds this whole like skate track of like it's just a
Of
death
death?
trap, the whole thing.
Bro, I'd
And
have been like, dog, it's skateboarding. Tony
Yeah,
Hawk did
exactly.
Tony Hawk did a 720 and we just called it a day. I don't know what's going on here.
nah, it's so good. I think Adam actually, now that I've talked about it, yeah, it's solidified. Adam's the best antagonist, like hands down.
He's like, all right, we're gonna
All
skateboard, right? Pulls out a gun. Okay, I don't
Wait.
know what we're doing here, but
Yep, so
Just to
good.
clarify, Gunnar, you voted for Aaron, right?
I changed my vote. I am going to vote for Aaron Yeager for best.
Alright.
3 to
antagonist.
1.
Yeah,
Three to
I'm
one.
gonna
Aaron
change
Yeager.
it. I do have a question though for Chris.
Mhm.
If Skate to Infinity becomes a video game, will you buy it?
Yes.
They-
Fuck yeah.
they- someone's
I'm gonna call myself Johnny Tsunami.
someone's gonna do someone's just gonna take the Tony Hawk Pro
Oh,
Skater and
And just
reskin it.
reskin everything.
I'm either gonna be I'm gonna name my character either Johnny Tsunami, Rob Deerdeck, or Nigel Houston.
Rob Deerdeck.
The Hawk, the birdhouse.
All right.
We're throwing it back.
Uh,
Alrighty.
All right. Well, like as with all good stories, you can't have an antagonist without a protagonist. And we are at best protagonist. Aaron Yeager,
This one's easy.
Yuji Itadori from Jujutsu Kaisen, Joe from Megalobox 2, Nomad, Otokawa from Odd Taxi, Boji from Ranking of Kings, and I Oto from Wonder Egg Priority.
Let Mr. Easy go first.
Yeah, go
Itadori.
Yuji.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die on this hill. Itadori. Itadori.
All he wants to do is find
Yeah.
a way to have a good death, man. I gotta respect that.
I'm
Feel a
in
little-
the same boat. Itadori is the best
Easy.
protagonist.
Ooh.
Again,
Wow.
I would say
I can't wait. I can't
Aaron,
wait.
But
Go, Gunnar.
dude, that dude is
You
the most
can't-
morally gray character in the world. So I'm gonna go with Itadori.
He can't be protagonist and antagonist. So
Exactly. Yeah.
he's my antagonist. Itadori is my protagonist.
Itadori is legit like
He's a super
everything
dude.
that's good in the world and can't
Mhm.
harm a fly. And the fact that he has what's his name, Sukuna inside of him. Freaking love
Mhm.
that. Because Sukuna is also badass. So double plus. There you go.
If I asked him on the street one day to fight in my honor, in my name, he would.
Only if you like Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer. That shit was so good. I did not see that. coming.
Standards.
Yeah, I did
And
not
of culture, dude. I get it. Jennifer Lawrence is in my top 5. That's another reason why he's my favorite. Boom. There you go.
Okay.
Go, Gunner. Because I feel like I'm gonna have to defend mine.
You're gonna say Aaron Yeager, you fucking
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't you just vote for him for antagonist?
I did, and that's
Oh
why I
my
have to defend
God.
myself.
My
Sense.
God.
Okay. We're gonna
Okay.
This is gonna be a 2-hour long
Yeah.
episode. I hope you
Okay,
guys
so
know
this
that.
part 3 coming soon.
We're actually ended here. No, I'm just kidding. Best protagonist. If I was to pick, like, I get what you guys are saying with Itadori, and I feel like on the same thing like Boji from.
I'm
Ranking of
surprised you
Kings.
didn't pick Boji, Chris.
I like him, but this is the problem I have with like isekai or fantasy kind of anime is like Boji is a great underdog, but his training arc was like an episode, and now he's the most OP thing in the world. I can't stand that like kind of progression.
Wait, what the
So
fuck are you
it's not-
talking about?
It's not against him, it's against the way that the story is written. What do you
Can't
mean? What
you-
am I talking about?
Can't you say the same thing about Itadori? He's literally like the human Hulk, like of Jujutsu Kaisen. He's
Yeah, but
like,
No,
we
but
know
he had
that
to
his
be-
training arc was insane. He literally died.
Mhm.
Like he's gone through a lot more than like in regard to like how he got there. I know that with Boji, it was over the course of like forever, right? But for me personally, as a viewer, I watched one episode. Boji was weak, right? The next episode, Boji's one-shotting fucking everyone. It's
But
like,
but the thing about it is with Boji, like it wasn't that he wasn't weak to begin with. It's just that his strengths were different. They're not. It's not the ideal like strength is, and I think that's where the kind of the story of ranking the kings come from. You don't have like, or at least one of the kind of like ideas, that concept that comes around. You don't have to live up to these like standards and stuff that like society or family familial ties makes. Boji's dad was, swinging around fucking tree trunks and was, a giant and fucking destroyed, like just destroying everybody. Boji doesn't have that. He can't live up to that. He is, he's small and he doesn't have that strength. But what he makes up for in strength, or what he lacks in strength, he makes up for in his agility and his maneuverability. So
are you caught up, by the way?
I am at the point where they're about to do the fight at the castle. So I'm like 2 episodes or 3 episodes away from finishing season 1.
Okay, so you've seen him fight the orcs in the bar.
Correct.
Okay, so you know how his power comes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
understand that he uses the what's it called, the rapier, and
I
instead
like
of
the way Dennis says that shit.
Yeah. I'll shut the fuck up. And uses it to, hit pressure points and stuff like that. Kind of like
Yes.
the one chick from Avatar. What's her name?
Tylee.
Tylee.
Yeah.
Chris, are you even a fan? I said it faster than you.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
you didn't? I said it first. What?
That's it.
That's fine.
Hold on. Gonna
Well,
call
Play it
it.
back. Play it back. No.
I'm a fucking fan. Don't you question that shit.
But going back to it, if the only reason you're choosing Itadori over Boji is because you felt like his growth was too short, I'm gonna say the same thing about Itadori. Like his growth was like what? It was 2 episodes instead of 1. Like, okay.
Okay,
Like,
so I
come
get
on.
that. I get where you're coming from.
Mm-mm.
I get where you're coming from. It's not just that factor. For
Okay,
me,
what?
it's also like Boji. So I'm a person. I like edgy characters. Okay, and I did say at the beginning of this that Itadori is like classic good guy, right? But he does have like he has character qualities that make him like believable in the real world sense, right? So I'm gonna get a lot of flack because this is gonna sound bad. It's not bad, I promise. So we sympathize. Okay. Here it is.
This guy's a
When I
teacher.
look at Boji, I sympathize with him, right? His situation makes me genuinely sad, but I'm taking it as like a personal thing, right? With Itadori, I feel like more I can empathize with him, and I look at it in a more realistic sense, right? Because Boji legit had everything taken away from him. That sucks, right? But because of that, I feel like more like sad instead of like relatable. With Itadori, his situation is shit, but I can kind of like I can more empathize with him. I don't know how to really explain it. I don't know if this is me sounding kind of stupid, but
We relate more to.
I relate a little better with Itadori. So
Also because you're not
because of
fighting
that,
to be a king of a kingdom, so I think it kind of takes. But
well, I'm also not fighting curses and demons, but
true. But he is a high school student who lost his grandfather, so that I feel like
Yeah,
puts him in a more.
I don't know.
realistic
I
position.
think for me, it's just with Itadori, I can empathize with him instead of sympathize, and I like that better. I don't know.
Listen, all I'm saying is that I feel like the story of Ranking of Kings is not. You're not. I don't think you're like, okay. If we're looking at it, Boji, yeah, he got shit cards, but the story isn't that you're supposed to like be sad for him. Like, yeah, he's got these disabilities, and yeah, he's got, not only does he have like physical disabilities, but then he has literal fucking curses put upon him by his own fucking family members and shit. And like, yeah, he got the shit barrel, but the story of Ranking of Kings is perseverance. You know what I mean? It's turning what you're like doing what you do best and turning that in, making that your attributes, not turning your weaknesses into strengths, pretty much. And I feel that Ranking of Kings does that really well.
So are you
Ah.
saying Boji's the best protagonist?
No, it's Joe from Megalobox 2 Nomad, but
You're so whack, dude. Fuck this. We were on a 25-minute philosophical trip down the fucking Matrix.
but all I'm saying
But
is you
it don't
cannot
matter.
say
Joe.
that, you cannot say
Whack.
you cannot say that.
All right, Gunner's lost it. Gunner's lost it. We're taking the
No.
talking stick away from Gunner.
No, okay, go ahead. Ryan.
mine's Aaron Yeager.
I could. Oh, yeah.
Even worse answer than Gunny.
Boo.
Yeah,
Alright.
yeah, lame, lame. Let's hear it.
What? Okay. So I'm going by definition. Who is the story? Who does the story of Attack on Titan follow?
Levi.
You're so stupid. Fuck
At
you.
this point, basically, it's fucking Levi. At this point, it's Levi. Let's be real.
I mean, I think the fans just turned it into that. But my point is that this is the story of Eren Yeager on his quest of revenge. I think he's done a great job of. I mean, he is the protagonist. The story, he is the main character's story. Now, the protagonist doesn't have to be the good guy. He doesn't have to be a good person.
Okay,
We've-
so then.
I mean,
okay,
Over-
okay,
I mean,
okay, okay.
Overlord is an example.
Rebuttal.
Okay.
Okay. He's the protagonist. The story centers around him.
Yes.
That's what you just confirmed.
Okay.
How can he be the antithesis of himself? And you said he's the antagonist as well. That made no fucking
No,
sense.
what do you mean it doesn't make no fuck? You've never really said this person is their own worst enemy.
Okay,
Who-
so then.
Here's my,
okay,
okay,
so
who,
then
no,
I
hold
would
on.
like you
This
to-
is the football
I
quiz.
want
This is
you
a
to tell
football
me-
statement.
no,
No, let me
no, no,
finish. This is the football statement. Who
No,
is
hang on, let me-
Antonio?
let me-
Who
let
is
me- let me
Antonio
have-
Brown's greatest enemy?
All right.
Who is Antonio Brown's
one-
greatest
one-
enemy?
One at a time.
What
One
is
at a
it?
time.
CTE.
CT.
And it's in his head, so that makes him his own worst enemy. You can be the villain of your own story.
Okay, I would like to ask you a question.
Yes.
Best girl.
Okay. Yeah.
No, no, I'm a strangle Daniel if we get there. Okay, so my question to you.
It's no, bro. It's easy.
What-
Anyways,
Yes. What is Aaron Yeager's goal?
his goal
What is
was
his
to,
overall goal?
his goal was to seek
Destroy
revenge.
all humans.
Yep.
Okay. So wait, can you restate that? Daniel, restate that.
His goal is to get revenge on the monsters that killed his mom. And then as the world grew, he realized that he's like, we need to basically destroy the Marleyans before they get the chance to come back and try and hurt us again.
Okay. So you're saying that his goal is to start war on Marley and destroy them all.
Yes.
How does he stop himself from doing it? If he's the antagonist.
By turning everyone that he loves against him. He becomes the antagonist of his own friends and family.
Okay.
Because he has other people.
Are you saying his friends and family are the protagonist then at that point?
No, he still is.
Listen, can I just say that if we're looking at the story of Attack on Titan, like I felt like was Eren Yeager, I felt like, if I'm being honest, this might be a hot take, but like looking at the like seasons in like 1 through 4, I didn't really think he was like, I know he was the protagonist, but I never thought he really was the protagonist. For me, it was the group. It was the group dynamic.
Thank
with
you, Gunner.
everyone. And,
it was the friends we made along the way.
Exactly.
Fairy tale, baby.
I just for me, Aaron.
But they all
Aaron-
died. So
yeah, well, I mean, not all of them, but
Wah, wah.
we got a
season one,
Yeah.
season 1, episodes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Yeah.
10, 11, 12. Spoilers.
We lost a lot, but
It's been-
it's
We did
okay.
lose a lot of people.
what is it? 5 seasons now? I only know 4 names.
Yeah,
That was, dude, Attack on Titan was Game of Thrones, like the anime
Yeah.
Game of Thrones.
yeah. She
Um,
was wild, but
You
like,
know, I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna end this on this note, and I'm gonna sound like that old crazy witch who goes, "You'll see, you'll all see. Once this shit ends, we're gonna have this conversation again, and Chris is gonna agree with me." Anyways, best girl.
Okay, let's go.
Anyways, best girl.
Easy.
This is
Vla-
easy. I agree.
Vladilina Milize, 86, Toru Honda, Fruits Basket, the final season, Nobura Kugisaki, Jujutsu Kaisen, Sarasa Watanabe from Kageki Shoujo, Shoko Komi from Komi Can't Communicate, and Ai Oto from Wonder Egg Priority. It is Nobura. I have Komi strong second.
All right, I have Comey, no strong second.
I'm fine with that.
Is it Lena or Lena? What do they call her in this show?
Lena.
Yeah, Lena. There you go. That's my pick.
Did you actually watch 86? Are
I
you like
did.
one of the? That shit was fine. That shit was way better than I thought it was gonna be.
hmm I'm saying, bro. She's. It's literally. I can't.
She's
I don't
nice
wanna
to
say-
war orphans.
Not even that. It's like racist. It's like
She's the least. Yeah, she's the non-racist in the family.
yeah,
So
like
low standards we have. Do you hate the brown people? No,
she's
best
with-
girl.
Yeah.
She's like the Nazi who took in all the Jewish immigrants and was hiding them, and
Oh, we're doing Schindler's List now.
yeah, man.
Jesus,
I mean,
okay.
how can that not be best girl? She was out going out of her way for humanity.
True. Okay. You know what? I'll put she's third. Honestly, out of this whole list, she's third, and Chris is gonna hate me for that. But
No,
I've also read the manga and the
Honda's
light
third.
novel for 86, and I'm like, yeah, I agree.
Toru is third, easy peasy. No one more sweet and innocent than sweet Toru.
Shout out to Laura Bailey, who tomorrow Vox Machina becomes available on Amazon Prime Video.
Ooh.
Um,
Laura Bailey does a great job with Toru, by the way. Like
Laura Bailey's
insanely
dope.
good job.
was also
Alright.
Kid Trunks in Dragon Ball.
Wow. All right, we need Gunner
Yeah,
to
Gunner.
break this tie because obviously.
Gunner gonna
votes,
pick
no, bro.
Joe Megalobox.
If only he was on for best girl. I don't know if you guys gonna like my answer, but it's a
Wonder Egg,
tie.
sorry.
It's,
Wonder Egg.
it's a tie. It's a tie between Ioto from Wonder Egg and
Dude.
Nobara from Jujutsu.
I wanted him to
Oh,
say Kageki
no.
Shoujo. Just
Doesn't
fucking
even
throw the
matter.
wrench in there.
Yeah.
Do a 1-to-1.
Yeah. But I yeah. I don't know what to tell you, Doug. Everybody
do
on
we-
here is great.
It's true.
10 out of
Even
10.
Kageki Shoujo, like, because we all watch
Yeah,
that shit.
exactly.
I changed my answer. Gabby, continue.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
shut
That's
it.
rhetorical.
That's-
No, I'm for sure.
100% satire. That no.
Listen,
Nope,
I can already
no
hear, I
satire.
can already hear the hate emails.
but what
coming in.
about here? Listen, Best Boy. How do we feel about Best Boys?
This is
Yeah,
a
I mean-
hard one.
Senku from Doctor Stone season 2 and season 1 because he's the same character in both. Izumi Miyamura from Horimiya, Otokawa Odd Taxi, Boji, Ranking of Kings, Ken Draken, Ryuguji, Manjiro Mikey Sano. So really fast, why do they explain in Tokyo Avengers why they like anglicize their names? I mean, Ken is I think universal, but like Manjiro they changed he's Mikey. Like, do they explain why he goes by Mikey, or is he just like Mikey?
You just
'Cause it's like-
Mikey.
What's up? My pick is Izumi Miyamura from Horimiya because I love that series, manga and anime. But, I'm not gonna try and defend it, but that's my pick.
I'm gonna go last. I have a lot to say.
I'll go second. I think mine's easy.
Okay,
I've only
Revenge.
seen one of the anime, so I guess it's Boji. Even though I wouldn't answer
Ugh.
it. Yeah.
You haven't
There-
seen
he's not
Doctor
even-
Stone? What the
No,
fuck?
he's not even best boy in his own show, in my opinion. But
Wow.
whatever, I guess.
Wait.
Best boy in
Gunner,
that
no,
show.
no. We don't need to listen to his opinion anymore. Gunner,
Yeah,
continue.
you're right. Yeah, you're right.
That's
Shut-
fair.
shut-
Okay, go ahead.
Where's the mute button at? Okay.
Whatever.
For me, best boy is Boji. It was a tie though between Senku was a close sec. Like he almost took it for me. I just feel though like when we're talking about like best boy, like if the main character from Jujutsu, Itadori was on here, Itadori would win best boy for me. Because I feel like all the characteristics for best boy, I don't think best boy and best protagonist are should be the same thing. I feel like they're different categories when you break them down. I think when we're looking at a best boy, you're looking at the most like a wholesome character. And that's what I'm looking for, at least my opinion, when I'm looking for best boy. So, and I feel like Itadori in Jujutsu Kaisen is best boy material rather than best protagonist. But I feel that Boji is best boy all the way. Wholesome. He cares. I connect with him. I'd vibe. He can be on the squad any day of the week.
That's
He
crazy.
can be on the
All
squad.
right. Well, now it's Raul's turn because Raul only has like a 5 sentences a topic. So this is I think where he gets to let out all his emotions.
That's not true. If there's Odd Taxi, I had at least 6 sentences.
Yeah,
okay.
he went
That's
hard
fair.
for a hot taxi.
Yeah, you know what? But it's funny because
But as soon as I saw Tokyo Revengers. So who do you pick? Who's the best
Gonna be
pick out of this
Mikey.
guy?
Listen, no. So Senku and Draken, they're so close. Drake is the type
Interesting.
of dude who would lay down his life for you. Like he's loyal to all ends, 100% with the shit. He would like take the fall if you committed a crime. He would stay at the crime scene and turn himself in for you. He's a ride or die. He's like, and he looks rough around the edges. He's he's not like Gunnar said, like best boy material, but he's got that
He's
heart,
got best
that
boy
loyalty.
in the heart. Yeah.
Yeah, inside,
He is best
which
boy.
what matter exactly.
Mhm.
Mikey's he's third, but if I had to pick, like he said, if someone could join the crew and hang with the boys, he would be him.
Can we change best boy to best homie? I
Best
feel like
homie, yeah.
that would.
That's
Best
true.
homie. Honestly, that would help. That would help.
Right? Bet more clarification.
Please
Yes.
Send an email to Crunchyroll customer service.
Can
to
we
change
add
best
can we add
boy
another
to-
category?
Yeah, but
All right. Well, that was
Senku,
clean
though.
and that was clean.
wait,
so
what
Draken,
did-
Draken, is it Draken or Draken?
I can't remember.
I know now I feel like I'm talking about the villain from Kim Possible.
Draken.
So
I think it's Draken
Kim
That's a
Possible.
bow.
Dr. Draken, dog.
Yeah.
and Draken. I don't know.
All right, kids, we have done it. We have survived countless categories, many
Wait,
fights.
what did you
different opinions.
say for best boy?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Izumi Miyamura from Horimiya because it's a romance anime
Got it.
and it's beautiful and wonderful and it's just about two high school students who like notice like they just end up liking each other and it's pure and magical and it's a romance anime without any of the bullshit in it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's another guy. Oh, there's another girl. It's just this couple. They're like that. Like, think of that couple that we all knew. Like, I guess like Gunnar and Jess would be the example. Like that couple in high school that just stuck together.
Yeah.
And like, there was no drama. There was no problems. There wasn't anything stupid going on. It was just them, and you just watch them go through life, and they function, and it's pure and amazing.
works.
And so, yeah.
Cool. Pretty good.
No drama for your mama. He's easy.
Exactly.
And he's tatted and shit, so everyone thinks he's edgy. And I'm like, shout out to the tatted crews.
As one of the boys, you have to, vote for your own.
Exactly, one of the homies.
I get you. All right.
We have done it. We have survived differing opinions, crazy takes, in endless categories, and now we have reached the end, the pinnacle. The giant. What's the giant drag? What's the final jungle boss you kill in League of Legends? We have reached
Baron.
Yeah, we have reached the Baron. We have reached Sephiroth in Final Fantasy. It is time for the anime
game.
Yep, and we have reached Endgame with Doctor Strange giving us a 1 with how many possible outcomes are left. Anime of the year, we have 86, Attack on Titan, Jujutsu Kaisen, Odd Taxi, Sunny Boy, and Ranking of Kings. Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna say Attack on Titan.
Nah, Attack on Titan. It's free.
Jujutsu.
Odd Taxi.
Are you
Joe Megalobox.
No,
He's not an anime.
Yeah.
He should.
No, yeah. We're gonna we got a lot to say. I'm gonna get mine out of the way because my pick is
Gunnar has thesis statements.
Odd Taxi wraps itself up, right? It wraps itself up really good. It's a one and done. You watch it and you're good. For me, like I felt like when I'm looking at best anime of the year, I'm also looking at what is getting into it is how hard, how easy is it to get into it, how entertaining it is. And when you're looking at all of these, I feel like it was a really strong tie between Odd Taxi and Jujutsu Kaisen were the two that for me kind of really has. I watched them all, all the way through. I felt I never like had a low point. Attack on Titan have had low points. Sunny Boy, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Ranking of Kings kind of has like when the training scenes, kind of gets a little dips a little. It's still good, but like overall, Odd Taxi and Jujutsu Kaisen had me enthralled the whole time. And when, yeah, what's up?
I was just gonna say this is the first, probably the only time I 100% agree with Gunner,
Yeah, thank
and that
you.
won't come out of my mouth ever again.
Ever again. Maybe one more time, but for rare. But so like when we're looking at them, I really enjoyed them both. But for me, Odd Taxi, it was just like Jujutsu Kaisen still has a long way to go, right? It's season 1. There's gonna be more that's gonna come out, and I think if we're kind of going back to it, it is good, but it's gonna get even better.
Agreed.
I think it's, and if we're just kind of going back to what we said before, it's not there yet. It is going to be anime of the year, but it's not. It's not time for it. Odd Taxi wraps up perfectly. It was a great, you could watch it again and again and kind of see the things that you've missed with the plot twists. And not only that, but also when you look at it as like, okay, I always try to look for intro animes, anything that like try to get in for especially new people to recommend. I could recommend Odd Taxi to anybody, and I feel like it would hit for anybody.
Slap the bass.
Because and to even for Raul, like, because I don't really see Raul as a slice of life kind of anime, and like
Nah.
Odd Taxi isn't really slice of life, but it has those slice of life kind of themes with.
Yeah, it's a little slow.
history.
Not a lot of crazy shit
Yeah.
happens. I get you.
Yeah, and I really didn't expect Raul to be as hyped about it as he was, but the story is just good. It's just a good story, and that's why I think for me, Odd Taxi is best anime of the year. Simple. GG, shake my hand.
Easy.
GG shit.
Attack on Titan, because it has created the greatest. Like, when was the last time anyone's been like, how does this shit end? Like, anime wise, not shows, because we could think of like a bunch, but think anime or going, how does this end? The hype. It's you don't get there without having a great story to carry it along the way. And I will say, for as wild as Attack on Titan gets, I watch with my roommate Emmett, who isn't an anime fan. He's like, everything makes sense. How we got here makes sense. And like, for like the scene where Gabby confronts the family of Sasha's family.
Oh my god, yeah.
How like that, just in terms of it does things that like not a lot of anime do well. And I think, yeah, just that whole like, is it an arc? It's like a 3-episode arc of Gabby like going like, oh, this is how the other side lives, and like to live with the family of the person that she killed. Like, who like the level of like writing behind that is just fucking genius. And to make Gabby seem relatable, right? Because you see after the attack, you see where Gabby's coming from, of like, well, and she was written to be a female Eren. She was written to be, right? Like, you see, like, what Eren did led to Gabby doing what she did, which happened at the beginning of the show, because that's what Eren was like when the Titans first killed his mom and stuff like that. Like, it's and I feel like it's gonna end the way everyone wished Game of Thrones was gonna end. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. It's if you want Game of Thrones level shit, Attack on the Titan is what you should watch, without all the grapes, if you know what I mean.
True. I get what you're saying, and I get why you're choosing Attack on Titan, part 1, and I do agree when we're talking about anime that I feel like best anime everything in it should wrap. For the most part, it tied a lot together, and it really brought a lot for this final season. So I get why you chose it. It makes a lot of sense. And Chris, you're also choosing Attack on Titan.
Yes, because an anime has never left me more on the edge of my seat than Attack on Titan. And the story was so good, and everything was so perfect, and Gabby is one of the best characters ever. And yeah, it's just such a great show. Honestly.
I wish we had fans so they could roast the fuck out of you for saying that.
Oh, okay. So
Hey,
let me do my
wish
little let me do my little defense. So Gabby is such a great example of like being brought up in a culture where you think you're correct, and where obviously outside cultures just say, well, that's morally not correct, right? Like, you know, we as Americans see other cultures kind of as, oh, well, that's kind of odd that they do that, or I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. Like, I remember learning in my social work class so many different things of like Southeast Asian cultures or Middle Eastern cultures where it's like, okay, we may or may not agree with everything that they do, right? And uh, but you have to accept that that's their culture, right? And you can have discussions on that. Well, Gabby's kind of that perfect fit where like, oh, she thinks that it's okay to do all these things because that's the way that she grew up. Even like her own shitty situation, right? Where on the outside you're like, well, you shouldn't really be okay with that. But to her, it's more than acceptable because that's her like background, right?
Yeah.
And I think from like a sociological perspective, I freaking love that. Like that's why she's honestly one of my favorite characters ever, because just that realization that oh, she's doing all these bad things to us because we've been riding the Aaron train for so long, and then we see her, and I think
Yeah.
it's honestly pinnacle. And the fact that she was introduced in this season, amongst other things, the whole thing with Aaron has now become a character I genuinely hate, and I love that because of this season. And I am starting to feel for Mikasa and Armin and Hanji and Levi and all these people, even Zeke, who I thought Zeke the whole time was a bad guy. Nope, turns out he's a pretty decent dude, right? Reiner, the same thing. I This show has made everything like turn upside down for me. And I used Gabby as a main example, but it's honestly every aspect for it. And I love this anime so much, and I think this first part of the final season did everything perfect. So that's why I say it.
Fair. This is my defense for Jujutsu Kaisen, though.
All right.
What are this gen's considered big three?
Ooh,
My
okay.
Hero, Demon Slayer, Jujutsu, probably.
Boom,
If we're not counting AOT.
boom.
But Attack on Titan doesn't fit in the same mold.
Okay, well then yeah, then I would say those three.
Like,
Attack on
that's-
Titan's kind of like the Full Metal Alchemist of
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great in its own sense. It deserves to be on the podium. I agree. But looking towards the future and what it will become, it's gonna be a staple for generations, like this generation's big three.
Well, that's
And Attack on Titan, it's like I think it's an acquired taste.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah,
Attack
exactly.
on Titan, the first. So I wasn't big into anime until like my sophomore year of college, and in my freshman year, one of my friends tried to get me into anime by having me watch my starter anime would have been Attack on Titan. And first
Right.
episode, I walked out of his room. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
It almost ruined anime for me because it's a pretty intense show.
Yeah, so it's like almost like an intermediate versus like expert level, right? Which appeals to the bigger fan base. Obviously, an intermediate level anime is going to appeal to more people. This is a voting system. Whoever gets the most votes wins. Who has the bigger population, the bigger fan base, or potential fan base? Because Attack on Titan is huge. But Jujutsu Kaisen is gonna take that spot.
but it's not
So
there
then-
yet. It's like what you said about with the Shigaraki thing of like we're not there yet. With Attack on Titan, we're at
But-
Endgame.
But yeah. But look
So
at
for
Demon
right now,
Slayer.
it's-
Demon Slayer was one season, and that blew up. It's been huge. The second season just came out. Like people are jumping on that train.
Literally.
It's easy to get into.
No pun intended.
Great.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
So sometimes Attack on Titan's been around for a long time, but I think it's like you said.
I think what we're gonna need to do is have a conversation about the big three because I think the term big three in anime is thrown around the way the GOAT term is for sports, the same way like with I feel like basketball has this more, and I feel like football does, but as long as Tom Brady's like 50 and he's still playing ball, it's kind of easy to say he's the best of all time because not everyone has played for 1,000 years and done it well. But I think we need to have a discussion at some point in the podcast about what defines the big three because the big three in a sense. The reason the big three is Naruto, Bleach, One Piece is because they carried Shonen Jump for years. It's not just like they were popular. It's kind of like how what Spider-Man is to Marvel, right? Marvel has all these other, but everyone shows up for Spider-Man. Like, you know what I mean? Like Captain America and stuff, or like if you went, okay, if I gave you a comic book of Spider-Man and a comic book of Captain America without watching any of the movies, your first thought is Spider-Man, right? And that's what the big three is for that, and that's what carried that flagship. So it's hard to say that there's going to be another big three because I think now the playing field is so balanced compared to where it was when you had One Piece, Bleach, Naruto, right? Because we've all watched one of those three, or two or three in some form combination way of form, right? But I have kids that like now, like haven't seen, I don't know, whatever, like Black Clover, that you can make an argument is part of the new big three. My Hero is a lot more popular, but my point is that like we need to figure out we need to define big three before we start. I think for our podcast at least, define big three before we start saying what our big three is going to be, because I know Attack on Titan isn't going to enter that stage. It's not going to be a big three, but it doesn't mean it's not going to be one of the greatest, animes to come out, at least of our generation. I mean, of all time, I would say. So I think we need to put a pin on our big three conversation, just because I have a different definition of it. Gunnar has a different definition of it. You have a different definition of it, and then obviously Chris has a different definition of it. But I do agree. I do agree with you on the sense that it's not a big three. It's not, because it is a hard sell. Like you can't, which is funny because it has the most issues at Barnes and Nobles. Like people buy them, and then I literally watch Barnes and Nobles. People just take like the first 10 and they just fill that slot back up. So I think we need to put a pin on is Attack on. I agree. Attack on Titan isn't big three, but we need to figure out big three before we start throwing big three around. If everyone else isn't agreeing with that.
Odd Taxi is 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, quick question, actually. Do you think God Taxi will have a second season, or it's done? Because the
I
way
think
it
it can.
ended,
The way I think it could
That's the
have a
beauty of slice of
second-
life.
Yeah, I think it could have a second season, but I think the way it ended was good. And I would just the thing about the thing about season 2s is they can make or break, as
Yeah, that's
as
true.
we could talk about. I would want a second season, maybe like at least in the Odd Taxi world. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I'm gonna be honest. You guys have actually won me over with this damn anime. You guys talk about it so much. I'm like, fuck it. I'm gonna watch this thing because
It's
I have
good.
no idea what the hell's
It's
going
good.
on, and it seems like it's deeper
Yeah.
than.
It is, and
like,
what I saw.
anybody else that's out there that hasn't seen Odd Taxi, you should watch it soon. Like, bump it up the list, because it is good. It is really good, and the art style is really good. Like, if you like Zootopia, it's an adult, like we said, it's like an adult Zootopia, and it's really good.
Without as much sex as Beastars.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave with one last statement for my Jujutsu Kaisen case. After one season of Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm a bigger fan than one season into Attack on Titan.
I'll definitely say they definitely botched the follow-up season to Attack on Titan. We waited 4 fucking years for season 2. That's wild.
And it was slow as shit.
That's wild. Like we graduated college. Like that's how that it's the length of someone graduating college. That's how long we waited for season 2.
Wild.
So,
When you put it like that, yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
And like didn't season 2 get cut because was it the studio that was upset with the views or something on season 2? Because wasn't it supposed to be a lot more? Like there's only like what 10, 12 episodes in season 2?
yeah, they did it in 2 sections because it became a political thriller, and people don't want a political thriller in their anime where people are getting eaten by giant naked people.
Makes sense.
But then Homeboy said, "Wait, let me finish it. Let's have a conversation after I'm done with this part, and then we'll see if you guys still like it." And people were like, "Oh fuck, this shit's good."
All right, was that it?
Yeah, like I said, I think we're also friends at the end of this, right?
Yeah.
Ish.
Listen, I gotta say, I agree. I'm more with Raul. Like, Odd Taxi is definitely my best, but like I said, Jujutsu is my number 2. And I get what you're saying with it. season 1 of it, it's fucking slaps. It's good. It's for me, we say it all the time. It's a better Naruto because it sets up that story. The main 3 characters kind of in this world that's, it's this like world, and it's up to them to kind of be the next generation. Is what it's kind of similar to what Naruto was. And I think it does everything great. The characters are great. Fight scenes are great. The story's good. So I agree with you. I agree that
I do agree with Ro. I love Jujutsu Kaisen. It's the show I showed my anime kids. It's I on the little podcast, the little recording I did, Gunner, I talked about Jujutsu Kaisen. Like it's my favorite shonen series right now.
Listen, you dropped.
I took over. Black Clover was for when I finished it, and Black Clover is now resting in a special place in my heart. Yeah. But Jujutsu is where it's at right now.
Listen, you dropped this king. It's a crown. It's a crown. But anyways, yeah, we did it.
We did
it. How's everyone feel?
I think Daniel needs to rethink what his knowledge is on Antagonist and Protagonist, but I'm doing pretty good.
That's true.
I think you actually need to be cultured and actually read how Attack on Titan ends, so we can have a fucking conversation about it.
Or watch anime.
I think you need to learn that people don't read anymore. You old man.
Aren't you a social studies teacher?
You old man. Hey, don't listen.
Isn't half of your shit reading?
Don't bring work into my pleasure. Okay, we keep that shit at work.
Listen, I just want to say thank you for joining us for our second analysis. Second annual Crunchyroll. Hey, I mean, the first time we did it, it's a long list. There's a lot. Yeah. We got through a lot of stuff, but you know what?
It took as long for us to do it as long as we did with 4 people. I think it's about the same time we did it, just me and you.
Mm-hmm. So. And because there's a lot to break down and stuff. But we did it. We made it through. I want to say, if you have listened this far, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it.
Yeah. You get our undying respect.
And
we'll make that a Patreon thing.
Exactly. If you disagree or you agree with what we said, leave a comment. Tell us how you feel. You could send us an email. You can yell at Daniel for his trash takes.
Or Chris for supporting Gabby.
Or Chris for supporting Gabby. Yeah.
You know, the first
Attack on Titan forever, baby.
No. The first person that agrees with me that Gabby's goated, I will personally send you a present.
There it is. But
one of Raul's cousins. Yeah. Watch. These are the only ones that follow our shit.
Yeah, I'll get you some sort of like Gabby charm for your keychain or something. Cause
get the Gabby sticker for the car.
Hell yeah.
There you go. But thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Next week we're going to go back to our regularly scheduled regular scheduled episodes. We're going to be talking about. We're going to be catching up to the final season, part 2 of Attack on Titan. I believe we are on episodes 1 through 6 is what we'll be caught up on, 1 through 5. And then we will also be catching up on all of the current season of Demon Slayer. So we'll be talking about that next episode. The Gaifus will bring us some questions that we will also bring for you guys, but that's what you have looking forward for next week. Thank you, Raul. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us. Any final comments before we end this one?
Hashtag Gabby did nothing wrong.
I have prediction for best girl for next year, and it's gonna be the girl from My Dress Up Darling, because that shit is amazing, and I'm so glad it's an anime now. Let's go!
I just want Odd Taxi to win one thing. I don't care what it is. Just one thing.
I agree.
I
agree.
Best thing. If it doesn't, we'll give it an award.
Yeah, we're gonna special.
Best anime that uses animals.
Sorry.
Oh, they might even give that to Beastars though.
Megalobox is great. Watch it.
Is Megalobox the best anime that uses animals?
Joe is. Joe's the best.
Joe's a beast.
They use like symbolism and there's like visual, but look, we're not gonna get into that. Another episode. So thank you for listening. We will catch you guys next week. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.